Chain Reactions is a documentary capturing 5 distinct perspectives on the 1974 horror film, The Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It is screening tonight, the closing night film for the Northwest Film Fest, and we have the pleasure of welcoming director Alexander Philippe here this morning. Good morning, Alexander.
Good morning.
And welcome back to Edmonton. You've been there a few times. You made a number of highly acclaimed documentaries and films on films and filmmaking. What approach did you take to set this one apart from other horror docs?
Well, this one was really unique in the sense that the rights holders to the Texas Chainsaw Massacre came to me to essentially make a film to commemorate the 50th anniversary of the film, which was last year. And they gave me carte blanche, which is quite amazing. And so we kind of went all in on this and did something really quite special. It's 5 different perspectives, five very distinct artists. And the film is essentially a mirror of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre in terms of its temporal structure. So we start at high noon, go into the night, and come out at sunrise the next morning. So each chapter is essentially lit for a distinct time of day, and it all takes place in this sort of ghost house rendition of dilapidated, version of the Texas Chainsaw House. So it's a ride.
That's very cool, and what an honor for them to come to you. Who are the 5 main interview subjects, and why did you choose them?
Sure. I mean, we start with a comedian. We have Patton Oswalt, who is actually an incredible cinephile and has just a lot to say about the film. We have the great Stephen King. We have Takashi Miike, the Japanese filmmaker, the very prolific filmmaker. We have Alexander Heller Nicholas, who is a horror writer and critic. And then we end up with Karin Kusama, the incredible director. So it's a very diverse cast.
Yeah, I know Patton Oswalt's late wife. She was into lots of true crime things as well. Yeah. Why did you choose specifically Texas Chainsaw Massacre? Now, I know for sure you are a huge horror film fan, right? So why choose this one? It's
one of the greatest films ever made, and I'm not just saying greatest horror films ever made. It is one of the great masterpieces that we have. Yeah. Period. I mean, they were kids. They were early to mid 20s when they made this film for $60,000. And they were they just stepped into the zeitgeist. They created a film that is, quite frankly, timeless. It's a masterpiece, and I think it needs to be revisited again and again.
There's a Q&A portion to the screening here.
Yes.
What type of questions do people like to ask you as a cinephile?
It really depends on the crowd. Usually they're pretty. I love the horror fan questions here, and I think there's going to be probably a whole lot of them here. The Metro is obviously it's a great space as well.
Well, here's a question from me: if you were to choose maybe 2 horror films, I love horror films.
Sure.
If you were to choose a couple ones for me to watch that you think that I haven't watched yet, what would you say?
Outside of the obvious, I think the film for me is Cure by Kiyoshi Kurosawa. It's one of the greatest horror films ever made as well.
We'll have to check that out for sure. Japanese and Korean horror films, I mean, they've just done it. They know how to pick at you,
Yeah, for sure.
Alexander, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you.
You can see Chain Reactions at 7 p.m. tonight at Metro Cinema in the Garneau Theatre. Alexander will be there, again, for a post-screening Q&A. Plus, there's a special 50th anniversary screening of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre following it. More information at NorthwestFest.ca.